everybody and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Spooky Sunday video. And if you're new here, please remember to subscribe. I would love to have you join the little family. On Wednesdays we do normal videos and on Sundays it's all spooky, scary videos. I was gonna say spooky, scary skeleton, but I think that's someone else's like little catchphrase on YouTube, so we won't say that. But Sundays are spooky videos. I'm really excited for today's one, but also really nervous. Today is another video where I'm gonna be reading your scary stories and I'm really scared already. So without further ado, let's get on into today's video and I hope you like it. Okay, so the first story is from one of my YouTube comments and it says, I have a story time about S-walkers. You know, I'm not going to say the name, so don't ask me to say the name. And it says, I was in the back of the car on the road trip with my family of 5. We were driving through the plains of Utah. It was getting dark, but it wasn't quite black. And we saw people walking along a trail. They had nothing on except ragged clothes. We watched them while it got dark and they looked over, their eyes shining red. They started to run as it finally got dark all the way around. We could just barely see the outline of random people. They slowly started to form into dog-shaped animals and they were gone. It was really scary. Can you actually imagine seeing that? This is why I don't like driving at night or in the woods at night. Like, it just creeps me out, and whenever I see it on movies I'm like, got butterflies in my stomach waiting for them to get out of the woods. Even if it's just a normal movie and they're just driving through the woods as part of a scene, it freaks me out. It freaks me out so much. Here is the next story. Here's a few flesh pedestrian stories that I have, which I think is another name that people use for S-walkers when they don't want to say it. But it says, 1. My family loves going camping and we always go to the same place. It's your average campsite, I guess. Bathrooms, places for trailers and tents, and a big open field that had a playground in it. There's a section of the field that opens up to a different part of the woods, way further from the sites. I was out there once as a kid and heard what I thought was my father calling me. I couldn't really make out the direction it was coming from, so I just ran back to camp and my dad was left asleep and had been sleeping since I left. I hate that. That's happened to me before. I think I've spoken about it in another video where I thought my dad had said something to me and he didn't, and it freaked me out, so I get them vibes. Number 2. This is the same person, by the way. I live on a dead-end road across the street a bit away from a horse ranch thingy. One night I took my dog out to do her business. When she'd finished, I heard a loud scream across the street. It was very late and didn't necessarily sound completely human. That place has been there since I lived in this house. I want to say a little over 15 years maybe. And those horses have never screamed or made a noise like that. And the coyotes have also never screamed like that. I just ran inside and locked the doors and windows. Some of you are just so brave living in these places. I would leave. I say this every time something creepy happens in one of these videos, but I would leave. So this is another story from a different person. And it says, so quick story time. I ride horses a lot and after my lesson I stay around to lead beginners in their lessons. I was leading a kid down the path and we were on our own because everyone else wanted a different route so they can canter. The pony, who is bomb-proof and never spooks, squealed and almost galloped off suddenly. I looked over at the other side of the field and there was a dog-looking thing standing there. But then it stood up on its hind legs and stared at me. I ran off with the pony and I never led down that way on my own again. Oh, I'm getting the EBGB creepies. I'm getting the EBGB creepies. Oh, it freaks me out so much. Every time I have to read these scary stories, especially S-walker stories, like, it just freaks me out so much. While we're here, if you want to send me a spooky story, here's the email. You can comment them and I do try and check my comments for stories, but if you do want to email me privately and I can keep you anonymous, or if you want your name, it's up to you. You can drop your Instagram at or anything in the email. Here is the email. Alright, let's go to the next story. Okay, so I'm Brazilian, but something really unnerving has happened in my backyard. Some weeks ago I woke up in the middle of the night with a weird sound of wood being pushed against the ground or some kind of furniture being moved. It sounded really odd since we don't have such things in our backyard. My dog started to freak out too. I would never get out of the house in the middle of the night to look for the origin of the sound, so I opened the window next to my bed, which have some iron bars, and took a look. Same. When you watch horror movies and people are out there looking for the noises and stuff, why? Why? No, I would never. It was really dark and quiet, not even bats or crickets doing their little sounds. So I got scared by the idea of whatever it was staring back at me from the dark and closed the window. Sometime later, I heard a really unnerving sound coming from outside the same window, like a distorted bird or something. I tried to look again and what a surprise when I found nothing again. I ignored it and went to sleep. In the morning, I found out that my little codorniz, and then they've got in brackets, kind of chicken, I don't know, were dead. No blood or flesh in sight, or footprints, or a way for something to sneak in. Only feathers. I was really shocked because I heard nothing besides the wood sound at night. I could hear their cries if they were attacked. and there was only one left alive. So I thought maybe it was too terrified or too choked to move, so I brought it inside my house. Shortly after, my sister got really sick and now she's in the hospital. At first I was going to say maybe it was like a fox or something, but how can a fox kill loads of chickens and leave no blood, no footprints, and no flesh? Like, it's kind of like they just drop dead. It freaks me out. There's so many unexplainable things in this life, and I feel like everybody just wants to avoid them, and I can't avoid them anymore because I do spooky videos and I have to acknowledge that there's creepy, unexplainable shit happening. I hope your sister's okay as well. I hope she managed to get better after she was in the hospital. Okay, so the next one says, I have 3 stories about encountering an S-walker. 1. So I was sitting outside around 2:30 and out of nowhere I hear this woman say hello. And it was like she was trying to whisper it and yell. So I ran inside as fast as I could. Number 2. So this is the next week after my first encounter. I was laying down on my bed on my phone when all of a sudden there was a knocking. So I flung the curtain open and no one was there. Oh God. Number 3. This would be a month after, so me and my sister were sitting in the living room when someone knocked. I looked outside the peephole and there was no one there, so I sit back down and it happens again. So I immediately get up and open the door and no one in sight. So I close the door and lock it and ignore it, and it happens 5 more times. I did see a video on TikTok where someone said if something knocks on the door and you look for a peephole and nothing's there, that you should never answer the door or open the door. Okay, the last story is on the email, the one that I said you can send an email to if you have a story, so I'm just going to sign into it and then I will read you the last one. Okay, so it says ghost story, so this is a bit different from the S-Walker one, and it is very long. If it's okay, could I be kept anonymous? So I'm not going to say the name of the person that sent me this story, but it says, so this is a few multiple stories throughout living in my home, which may or may not connect. Background. I live in my great-grandmother's old home. We started living there a few years before she passed. It started when I got my first episode of sleep paralysis. I was sleeping on the sofa at home alone, and I felt something heavy squashing me, making me breathe really hard. I've had sleep paralysis before, once in my life, and it scared me so much that I struggled to sleep for a week. So I feel for people that have sleep paralysis often, because if you've never had it, it is the most terrifying experience of my entire life. Like, I can't even explain to you what kind of experience it was. It was just terrifying. This would happen every so often, only when sleeping in the living room. This would never occur in any other place in my house. Every time I got sleep paralysis, I never felt I was alone. It was as if something was there watching me. One night I was lying in bed alone. I felt something coldish grab my leg. It was my right leg, which was facing the wall of my bed, so it couldn't have been a cat or prank from under my bed. I froze in fear. There was nothing in my room. I stayed awake until 3 a.m. trying to convince myself it was just my imagination. However, the next day I was sitting downstairs on a chair with shorts on and noticed some bruises on my leg, 4 small ones in a line and a 5th near the side. The shape it would look like was as if 5 fingers had grabbed my leg. A few days later I was in my room cleaning at 12 a.m. Don't ask why, haha. No, I feel you. I feel like I have random outbursts of energy late at night, so I get you. And my brother comes running in asking if I walked past the hallway. Everyone else was asleep. I said no, as I didn't. And he said, well, someone just walked along the hallway in a grey top. I was wearing pink. He said it happened while he was brushing his teeth and he saw through the mirror. I don't want to make this too long. I have a lot of other small stories which happen every so often, like knocking on my wardrobe and hearing footsteps in the living room, but I would be here forever if I told them all. Love your videos, by the way. Thank you for liking my videos. That means the entire world to me. But what the frick? And also thank you for your story. I really, really appreciate all the stories that everybody sends me and gives me to read in my videos, but what the heck, like a actual haunting in an actual house. At least your brother's seen it though. You know, sometimes people will be like, oh, only I saw it, I felt like I was going crazy, stuff like that. At least someone else is seeing it as well, so you know that it is happening and nobody can be like, you're just being crazy, because someone else has witnessed the same things as you. You'll have to email me and let me know if you have any updates. Obviously if you want to stay anonymous, I understand, so you might not want to comment down below, but you will have to email me and let me know if there's any updates. See, it's a little bit harder when you're living at home with your parents. You can't just leave. Like, if I was an adult and that was happening, like I always say, I would leave. I would be gone. I don't know if I physically would have the mental capacity to stay in a haunted house. It freaks me out so much. It's like one of my biggest fears. I keep looking out the window because I'm scared. But that is the end of today's video. I hope you liked it. Again, thank you so much for sending me your stories. I really, really appreciate it, and I love reading them and hearing about your experiences, whether that's with ghosts, S-walkers, scary people. You know, the stories you send me can be about creepy experiences with real life people that you've had. It doesn't have to be about paranormal, unexplainable things. But yeah, until next time, I will see you all soon. Peace.